Good morning. Welcome to the part 3 lecture video series of our course FRM 12. Last meeting we ended with this topic about the different disciplines that GIS integrates. Aside from forestry and application in forestry, we have many applications of GIS, including cartography, geography, geodesy, mathematics, statistics, and any related fields in science. We can possibly utilize GIS. Now, it's very important to know that we have what we call data input in GIS. We have what we call the kind of data which is called vectors, and we have digital maps. We have also satellite imagery that we utilize, and of course GPS, field survey data, tabular data, and digital products, and of course lastly LiDAR data and text data sets. So there are many. You see, GIS system works differently because they have many kind of type of file that we utilize in order to come up with this single map alone, which includes this one. Sa unang panahon, we use this text data from maps. Maps nga to scan, digital maps. We also use satellite imagery from the satellites, the satellite pictures that were being taken in outer space out of satellites. Noong unang panahon, we use field survey data gamit ng kanina itong mga theodolites, total station. In forestry, usually we use GPS or handheld GPS na itong gamit in order to pinpoint locations on field and then map it out using GIS. There are also this new technology called the LiDAR project using much more accurate remote sensing remote sensing which uses again satellite imagery, pero ang ilang gamit ani pag-collect ang data is using drone or unmanned aerial vehicles. Kanina tawag ng mga drones, di ba? Usually kita natin sa mga drones sa Facebook is pang mga picture lang. So there are drones that really is utilized for this purpose. Nga mo nasa flight height, nasa flight path that takes consecutive pictures of a certain terrain. Mo na makuha na to ng, for example, this one, mo na makuha na to there are darker colors, there are lighter colors. This is in relation to the flight plan of the drone. Then we have also what we call digital products. Una, they are stored in USB or CDs. And then we have also tabular data. If you go to the field, diba, naging ko sa inyo in forest surveying that we have also what we call the different type of notes that we use. In notes, we use tabular data in order to input ang atong ma-measure nga to sa field. There are also text data that you get from books or sa mga previous mga surveys that we utilized and inputted in the GIS system. In order to come up, we filter all that and we make our own GIS database. So atong GIS database is not just so again, we filter all those kinds of data, those data types, in order to make our own GIS database. So the GIS database is not just excluded only with one kind of data, but a numerous type of bulk of data. So we have different, if you really want to pursue this different, what you call that, this field in GIS, you can visit the different sources of free Philippine GIS datasets that was already uploaded in the internet. We have the Philippine GIS. We have the Sentinel, which is developed by the European Union in Europe, and then we have the Geo-portal, which is developed again in the US. The Geo-portal, the Landsat images, raster elevation data, these are all coming from NASA, as NASA have numerous satellites already orbiting planet Earth. So nasa inyong PowerPoint din nagyapon ni diri sa ato how to download, nagyapon ni diri mga links that you can click in order for you to navigate and download whatever data that you want. So world data sources, if you really want, if familiar ka mo sa Google Earth, you have a very simple way of navigating para magkamayad ako mo idea how to navigate and how to locate areas on the map. You can also get some coordinates. If you just click there, you can, in Google Earth, you can also make maps. You can put points. You can put polygons and lines if you want. So aside from Google Earth, you have here the natural Earth data that you can use, the ESRI, Open Data Source, the USGS Earth Explorer, OpenStreetMap, you're all familiar with that, Geography, NASA Socio-Economic Data and Application Centers. Again, there are a lot of data sources that you can visit in order for you to get those data and to try to practice it on your laptops or on your PCs. And then we have also satellite imagery. It is very important. Aside from those data, the satellite data that you collected, there are also satellite image pictures that you can use. So we have what we call hardwares. Of course, it's very important that we utilize hardware. So hardware is very important in order for you to operate the system, the GIS system. So again, most common is your desktop. If may have a desktop or laptops or servers that you can install this GIS system. The scanner, of course, scanner is very important if you have available printed maps. So you just scan that and save that as picture so that you can input that. You can geo-reference. We call that geo-reference in your GIS system. This one, scanner, printing of your maps, GNSS receivers or GPS receiver. It's very important. In others, total station is specialty engineers, laser rangefinder, wala pa kitaan eh. External drive servers, UAVs mo na yung kanina. Drones, generally, we call drones as UAVs or unmanned aerial vehicles because they are remotely controlled by a pilot. Internet infrastructures and etc. This is a rangefinder and a total station. Total station is much more accurate reading ng total station compared sa imong GPS receiver. Rangefinder is also accurate in a way, mga 1 meter siguro or less than 1 meter. That is how accurate. Pero mga mahalining ng mga equipment sa atong campus wala pa kitaan ni naka-purchase. And this is UAV or an unmanned aerial vehicle. This kind of drone is used to, again, take pictures. Take pictures of the terrain, the topography of the area in order for us to map that in our GIS. So we have unidentified or unmanned. Actually, this is unmanned UAVs. We have different types of UAV, unmanned vehicles. Now, there is what they call, there is this, since this is just like a plane, diba? When you want to buy a plane, it needs a pilot. And before it can be fly in the flight zone, for example, in the Philippines, kailangan na mga permits. Kailangan nimong permit sa mismo nga aeroplano. Kailangan nimong permit kanhi sa imong pilot. In the case of drones or unmanned aerial vehicles, if the weight of the drone is 5 kilos below, you do not need to have a permit secured. Well, if it is 5 kilos or above, you need to have a certificate. You need to register your drone and you need your pilot that is running the drone to have a license. Because if it is heavier, if it is lighter, like 5 kilos below, usually it is used for recreational purposes, like putting, for example, here, recreational purposes walang na eh. Magkuha kag picture, magsayo-sayo ka mo, kaniba, kung may occasions. Pero those drones that is heavier or is 5 kilos or above, that is tends to be used in other purposes. It can be used for reconnaissance surveys or and it can be used in military purposes. So that is why the government is really prohibiting the use of this one, of those drones 5 kilos or above. Now, aside from the hardwares, we also utilize software in order for you to run your GIS system. So our commercial GIS software, when you say commercial, you need to purchase this one, and it costs a lot of money, mind you, hundreds of thousands in order for you to buy ArcGIS, MapInfo, Manifold, and GeoMedia. I've experienced using ArcGIS and Manifold, but it was previously when I was working in DNR, and the government really purchased this one. But with the advancement of technology and the development of new softwares, we have what we call an open source GIS software. The most pinakasikat nga open source GIS software is QGIS, MapWindow GIS, Diva GIS, Saga GIS, Grass, Elwis, etc. We have a lot, but one of the most famous kind of open access GIS software is QGIS. You can read that here, references, and many GIS software tutorials. We have a lot. You can already download it, or you can ask me a copy of the installer I have, as long as you have your own laptop or your computer. This is what we will be using with this class, Quantum GIS. So we have this one, 3 GIS softwares, and ang asa nimo sila makuha, and the outputs. Again, once you run your data in GIS, you have your outputs again. We have the processed maps. You can see here, this is topographic map, and elevation map. You can see here mountains, and these are administrative boundaries of certain location, barangay siguro. And then we have here the ridges or watersheds. We have the display, statistics, tabular data, graphs, reports, and digital products. We have, again, just like inputs, we have different types of GIS inputs. We also have different types of GIS output. One of this is, again, the display, the statistics, tabular data. Then we have different kinds of reports, digital products, and graphs. Now, where is the application? We have the application of GIS. It's not just as application for forestry, but also for agriculture. We have different fields of agriculture economics, engineering, agronomy, farm and ranch management, pest management, veterinary science, architecture, we have business. In government, it's very important. Lagi na akong na-mention ako. It's very important now that we are in the pandemic. Data in GIS is being generated in order to map out areas with, for example, high infection rate. Asa man dapit ang daghang nangamatay na sa COVID, asa nga mga lugar ang taas o transmission of COVID-19 Delta variant, di ba? Law, libraries and museum, mapping and charting, natural resource management, and forestry. That's why it's very important, because we cannot manage our resources properly if, in the first place, wala ka kahibaw the extent of the resources that you are managing, what kind of resources that you are managing, unsa kadako ang resources nga imong manage, unsa kabuti ang resources nga imong manage. That's one of the basic concepts in management. You need to know what you are managing before you can manage properly the resources. Then we have defense, security, intelligence, education, engineering, aerospace, computer and civil, etc. So again, what I'm trying to show here is that the application of GIS is very broad, and it's up to your ideas or minds in how do you apply this kind of technology. So we will be continuing our discussion for this features of the GIS on our next lecture video. Okay, so I will be uploading this, and hopefully you will be watching this video on YouTube. Okay, see you on the next part of the video.